Market update on the 11th. Gonna do this on the spot. We hit 399.60 today. Pretty much hit the target I was talking about in the last video. I think it was pretty obvious what it was going to do all day. It wasn't. The VIX was falling. Every time we came down, we would just jump right back up. It was pretty obvious where they wanted to take it the whole day, and we did hit basically 400. So now the question is, are we topped out? Well, 400 is only, well, it is the 1.23 fib of the A wave, so it's possible we topped out there, like I said in the last video, and we start moving down next week. And we'll look at a few different things, and we can kind of come to a conclusion. We still have not hit the top of this parallel line, though. This is a parallel line from the A and the B wave, or the B wave, and it's cloned up here. We have not hit the top of that yet. That's at 403. The 1.61 fib of the A wave is at 417. So right around in here. But if this is a first wave and a second wave, you wouldn't want it to go past 412.55, which is the 0.78 fib. Usually it won't go past there if it's a second wave. And past the top of this is right at the 0.78 fib. So that's another destination that it could possibly go to, but not pass. 409 was my original target based on this being at 368, 348, 20 points higher than 389 is 409. So we have, it can't go past this for it to be a second wave. We got 409 being 20 points between these two, 20 points higher than this. We got 417 being the 1.61 fib of this. We also have trend line from here, put it up on the top of here, and that converges perfectly on the 25th at 417, which is the 1.61 fib of the A wave. So that's kind of interesting because that would be perfectly, like, it'd be perfect math. This is 348, this is 362, 14 points less than the top of this is right around 417. So 417 is possible for it to be a perfect math here at 417. 409 would be perfect math for just this wave right here. And then 412 again is can't pass for the 0.78 fib. And then right here is the 1.23 fib we close out today, basically. So I'll mark that one too. So those are basically the three spots I think we could end at. 409, 417, and where we're at today. It's not really that clear, so I'm just going to leave it. I think it's going to be anywhere between 400 and 417 by the 25th. That's kind of where I'm thinking. The most unlikely scenario would be if this ended up being A, B, and this ended up being a 5-wave move like this. Because it would take us all the way to like 440. I think I measured it out at 440. And if that happened, then it would clearly be A, and this would be B. And then we would actually go all the way down to minimum the 1.23 fib of the AB wave, which is at 330 all the way down to 300, and that would just be the C wave. So it's not 100% clear where we're going to go, but we did hit my target today, basically, and anywhere between 400 to 417 is the most likely target with that outlier of a 5-wave move to 440. And let's look at the dollar now. Oh, actually, one more thing. The long-term what is this? This is, where's the long term? I deleted the long term. Okay, so the long term from January, it's a little bit off. It's basically right, a little bit off on this part, but it doesn't really matter that much. The long-term one ends at 412, which is interesting because that's also where the 0.78 fib is at, and it would not break the top of this September 12th candle. So a lot of different interesting ways to look at this. I would say 417 is reasonable, 412 is reasonable, 409 is reasonable, and a top here is also reasonable. But after today, I would say I'm pretty much 50-50. I don't think we're going to fall next week, though. Next week's OPEX. The 18th on OPEX. Lots of puts. We might have a small fall in like earlier in the week. And then I can imagine us going higher in OPEX. And looking at this long-term line here, I think that's the more likely place because it's hit 3 times. And that's at 412. So I think 409 to 412 is probably the most likely, and that's what I had as a target like a couple weeks ago. I just recently said 400 looks like you're finishing a 5-wave move, but on lower time frames, it's kind of like it looks like a 5-wave move, but it keeps on extending, so it's kind of hard to tell. Pretty much looks like a 5-wave move. We'll have to see on Monday. But anyway, 400 to 412 would probably be the best targets to base everything on. And of course, the next move down is going to be, should be a 5-wave move down to a minimum of, let's see, if we go to 412, I would say we're probably only going to go down to like 330. Let's see what that is. So maybe we only go down to the 1.23 fib. Again, the 1.61 is at 314. So we just know there's going to be a 5-wave move after this. Structure is still corrective. Unclear if today was a top. And this is not a very traditional like C wave here either. So I'm just trying to think if there's any other patterns that it could be. Looks like for right now, I think that's probably it. 410 to 412 would be most likely, 417 possible. Anyway, let's go to the dollar. I've been on this for a while. And to make it clear too, I have puts right now, and I also have a few calls I'm holding just because I don't want to be fully short in my portfolio. And the strategy is pretty much, it's working pretty well. I just go by delta at the end of the day. And I was currently like plus 100 or plus 150 delta at the end of the day today because I don't want to be negative delta right now until we actually see a move down. And I probably won't even add puts until we see a move like this and then we come back and it's clear that it's actually an impulsive move down and a corrective way back. So that's something to keep your eye on too. If you're trading this and it's going up, don't try to guess where the top is. Wait for it to come down first, and then when it comes back up, then you buy your puts. Otherwise, if you buy puts here, let's say it just keeps on melting up and it goes to 420, now you're down hundreds of thousands of dollars, hundreds or thousands of dollars, and maybe your puts will be worthless. So something to think about. Dollar. Went over this earlier. I've had that target for a while, like I've said in the last video. Is it possible it could go lower than this? It actually, let's see. It hit. Let me go on the daily again. That 4 hours good. It hit the 1.61 fib perfectly, like pretty much perfectly today. So that's kind of a, in my opinion, that's a red flag right there. that we could have topped today, and that's a good way of thinking about it too. That's got to give you some pause and thinking maybe either possibly we did top today. Maybe this is a shorter C wave. So we hit the 1.61 fib. I'm actually going to go ahead and mark this as finished. So we have A, B, C, and if we zoom in here, we can just check the waves. Clearly, it would come through the third wave. And then we get a bounce and a fifth wave. So it looks to me like we finished. It's kind of a long first wave, but the third wave was not the shortest. It's a 5-wave move, and it hits the 1.61 fib and my target exactly, pretty much. So based on that, and another thing to look at is the monthly time frame. And look at this. I've been talking about this for 5 months now. I've been waiting for this red candle on the monthly time frame for such a long time. If we go right here, take the fib tool, you'll see that we basically had a normal fourth wave pullback, which usually comes not past the 0.38 fib, 104.34. And so everyone's saying the dollar topped. Based on this chart, I would say it has not topped. Let's say we did hit the bottom today. I would be looking for the dollar to go to, based on this, my normal way of figuring it out, 120 to 124. So that would be the target, 120 to 124. Finally got our red monthly candle. I'm not sure when this ends, the candle, and I don't know if we go green next week. I don't know if it will turn green, but if anybody knows when the monthly candle closes out, let me know in the comments. But we need that red candle before we can take a fifth wave higher, and the target, if this is the bottom here, would be 120 to 124. And then if we zoom out here, and you see clearly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see it clearly. I'm trying to think if this could be an ABC pattern too. We'll keep it as 5-wave move right now, because either way, it would be ABC, B, let's see, ABC, B, it's a 5-wave move. But yeah, if it's a fourth wave here, regardless, ignoring all that part right there, it doesn't matter. This is a 5-wave move, so we know there's going to be another move higher here. Looking at this being a 5-wave move and then zooming out, we would have a corrective move lower after we finish the 120 to 124, all the way back down to 92, potentially 87. So all the people calling for a melt up right now, I mean, we're getting a short-term melt up, but a long-term melt up, I think they're going to have to wait for another move higher in the dollar, and then we'll get that that melt up that David Hunter has been calling for 2 years now. So that's what I see in the dollar. Even though it's overbought, it's probably going to do one more leg higher. And then let's go to the VIX. Not really much to look at in the VIX. It's just going down. But something interesting to look at, even though RSI on the VIX is not really the best indicator, it's definitely interesting to look at. 2253 is where it closed, and I already have it marked here. We hit 2647 on the daily RSI for the VIX. And if you go back, the last time that it was this low on the RSI was back here in May of 2009. We have not gone this far down this quickly in the VIX since 2009. So that's pretty crazy. Even though RSI doesn't really matter on the VIX as much, still interesting to look at. So the dollar showing its pretty much bottom, hit the 1.61 fib. VIX most oversold since 2009. SPY hit my target. I'm leaving the door open till like 412. But I mean, all these indicators are saying that we are getting ready to go down in SPY and should be going up in the dollar and in the VIX. Yields, I'm not going to look at them because we didn't have the bond market open today. But they were like at 3.8. And let's look at the Apple. So remember in the last video I said that Apple, I didn't think it could go over 152 for the second wave. That's another thing that's a warning sign for the markets, because let's see where we hit on this. We went past the 1.61 fib, but I had one basically over this right here as being the stop for this being a second wave. So if Apple goes up next week over 152, then we have to look at this and maybe have to change the chart. But right now, I'm still looking at it like this. Target's 122. Bounce. And then lower to 110 is my target, I think. So Apple is right on track 2 for our move. So dollar showing bottom, VIX oversold since 2009. Apple basically hit our second wave target. SPY hit one of our targets. Like, all this, after looking at it, looks really bearish to me. But you can't ignore that we're just melting up. So I'm going to leave it at that. But 400 to 412 is pretty much anywhere in there would be a good target for SPY to end. So we'll have to see next week what happens. That's it. Let me know in the comments what you think. You make some money this week. Anything else you want to tell me, let me know in the comments. And maybe I'll make some more videos this weekend. All right, have a good weekend.